of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Per union, the first to endorse Joe Biden, and of course Georgia, one of his biggest wins.
What you are all about to be part of, America, is a historic moment of firsts. To administer the oath to our first African American, our first Asian American, and our first woman vice president, Kamala Harris, it is my great privilege to welcome to the inaugural stage the first Latina to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States of America, Justice Sonia Sotomayor.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
I, Kamala Davy Harris, do solemnly swear.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
That I will well and faithfully discharge.
The duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
The duties of the office upon which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yeah, 2021. You just heard it. You just saw it. History was made. Kamala Harris taking the oath. It's the first African American, first Asian American, first woman vice president of the United States. Behind her, the first African American president, Vice President Pence. Lindsay Davis.
You know, she had her hand on two Bibles, one that belonged to Regina Shelton, a former neighbor and family friend who she's often described as like a second mother. It's also the same Bible that she used during her swearing in as Attorney General and also as Senator.
And now we are going to hear, after Hail Columbia, Jennifer Lopez is going to be singing as well.
Please welcome Jennifer Lopez to perform This Land Is Your Land and America the Beautiful, accompanied by members of the President's Own United States Marine Band.
Lady Gaga, Jennifer Lopez, both making resplendent fashion statements today. If that's not resplendent, I don't know what is, Ron.
We're just proud of how well you've grown up. 10 years ago, you wanted to take a notice.
Words I never thought I'd hear.
One nation under God with liberty and justice for all. From Jennifer Lopez. Approaching now the moment where President-elect Biden will take the oath.
The sun is shining, and Mr. President-elect, this is the first inauguration in the history of America where J-Lo was the warm-up act for Chief Justice Roberts. With that, It is now my distinct honor to introduce the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, John Roberts, to administer the presidential oath to the next President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden.
This is the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the oath of office, followed by musical honors.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr., do solemnly swear
I, Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr., do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
First time held the chief played for Joe Biden. Joseph Robinette Biden will be the 46th President of the United States. He was congratulated as Mr. President. He will officially become president in about 9.5 minutes at noon as he's giving the address. Saw Dr. Joe Biden overcome with emotion in that moment. Who wouldn't be? David Muir, the quest of a lifetime for Joe Biden.
George, this was the ultimate long game. He was elected to the Senate at 29, the youngest. He'll now be sworn in as the oldest president. He has waited and he has dreamed of this moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, please
so
be
many
seated.
years. He has told me the president's job is to heal, that the country needs healing, and he told me the words of a president matter.
Dr. Joe Biden there, First Lady of the United States. The bells at Howard University will now ring 49 times before the inaugural address.
We have all been waiting for. It is now my great privilege and high honor to be the first person to officially introduce the 46th President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, Jr.
Chief Justice Roberts, Vice President Harris, Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, Leader McConnell, Vice President Pence, my distinguished guests, my fellow Americans. This is America's day. This is democracy's day, a day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew, and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious, democracy is fragile, and at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed. So now, on this hallowed ground where just a few days ago, violence sought to shake the Capitol's very foundation, we come together as one nation, under God, indivisible, to carry out the peaceful transfer of power as we have for more than 2 centuries. As we look ahead in our uniquely American way, restless, bold, optimistic, and set our sights on the nation we know we can be and we must be. I thank my predecessors of both parties for their presence here today. I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I know the resilience of our Constitution and the strength of our nation, as does President Carter, who I spoke with last night, who cannot be with us today, but whom we salute for his lifetime in service. I've just taken the sacred oath each of those patriots have taken. The oath first sworn by George Washington. But the American story depends not on any one of us, not on some of us, but on all of us, on we the people who seek a more perfect union. This is a great nation. We are good people. And over the centuries, through storm and strife, in peace and in war, we've come so far, but we still have far to go. We'll press forward with speed and urgency, for we have much to do in this winter of peril and significant possibilities. Much to repair, much to restore, much to heal, much to build, and much to gain.
He means Raytheon Boeing in the military-industrial complex. Much to gain.
More challenged, or found a time more challenging or difficult than the time we're in now. Once-in-a-century virus that silently stalks the country. It's taken as many lives in 1 year as America lost in all of World War II. Millions of jobs have been lost. Hundreds of thousands of businesses closed. A cry for racial justice, some 400 years in the making, moves us. The dream of justice for all will be deferred no longer.
We'll see about that, won't we?
Comes from the planet itself. A cry that can't be any more desperate or any more clear. And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat. To overcome these challenges, to restore the soul and secure the future of America, requires so much more than words. It requires the most elusive of all things in a democracy: unity. Unity. In another January, on New Year's Day in 1863, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. When he put pen to paper, the president said, and I quote, "If my name ever goes down into history, it'll be for this act, and my whole soul is in it." My whole soul is in it. Today,
My whole soul is in it today. Believe me.
Bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause. Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness.
I have to say, this is a nice little speech that his people gave him. This is nice. Lawlessness. That Lincoln thing, that was a good touch, guys. Good touch, Anthony Weiner. Good touch, Buttigieg.
We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days. I know the forces that divide us are deep and they are real. But I also know they are not new. Our history has been a constant struggle between the American ideal that we're all created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization have long torn us apart. The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through Civil War, the Great Depression, World War, 9/11, through struggle, sacrifice, and setbacks, our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together to carry all of us forward. And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can see each other not as adversaries, but as neighbors. We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace, only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage. No nation, only a state of chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge, and unity is the path forward. And we must meet this moment as the United States of America. If we do that, I guarantee you we will not fail. We have never, ever, ever, ever failed in America when we've acted together. And so today,
well, we failed to give people a living wage. We failed to give people health care during a pandemic. We failed to eliminate the wars from 2 to 7, which your predecessor didn't stop either, and Barack Obama started. We failed to give people any kind of semblance of any kind of wealth in this country, especially black wealth. So your nice little speech is pretty dumb, but propaganda for everyone here.
And even manufactured. My fellow Americans, we have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is so much better than this. Just look around.
Look, fat. America's better than this. You do some push-ups if you want.
As mentioned earlier, completed amid the Civil War, when the Union itself was literally hanging in the balance. Yet we endured. We prevailed. Here we stand, looking out on the Great Mall, where Dr. King spoke of his dream. Here we stand, we're 108.
I just see my numbers going down because y'all want to see the propaganda and just the propaganda. It's so funny. I don't give a shit.
Marching for the right to vote. And today, we mark the swearing in of the first woman in American history elected to national office, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Women.
Tell me things can't change. Here we stand, across the Potomac from Arlington Cemetery, where heroes who gave the last full measure of devotion rest in eternal peace. And here we stand, just days after a riotous mob thought they could use violence to silence the will of the people, to stop the work of our democracy, to drive us from this sacred ground. It did not happen. It will never happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Not ever.
Healthcare in this country will never come to pass. A living wage will never come to pass.
All those who supported our campaign, I'm humbled by the faith you've placed in us. To all those who did not support us, let me say this.
$1,000 stimulus checks for everyone.
Move forward.
It's going to be down to $650 by the time he gets through the door.
And if you still disagree, so be it. That's democracy. That's America. The right to dissent peaceably within the guardrails of our republic is perhaps this nation's greatest strength. Yet hear me clearly. Disagreement must not lead to disunion. And I pledge this to you. I will be a president for all Americans. All Americans.
He's going to be a president for Boeing, Raytheon, GE, Disney, a president for Microsoft, a president for Apple, a president for all those American corporations.
My church wrote that a people was a multitude defined by the common objects of their love. Defined by the common objects of their love. What are the common objects we as Americans love that define us as Americans? I think we know. Opportunity, security, liberty, dignity, respect, honor, and yes, the truth. Recent weeks and months have taught us a painful lesson. There is truth and there are lies. Lies told for power and for profit.
Look at these guys. This Sherry Ackerman, she wanted just the propaganda. She can't stand it. I'm not going to just let him propagandize on my show. If you want this guy to propagandize, go to the mainstream media. I'm here to deliver the truth. I don't really care about your comments, guys. Not right now. I'm a free American, and I will speak my free speech all I want.
Was fear and trepidation. I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay in bed wondering, can I keep my health care? Can I pay my mortgage? Thinking about their families, about what comes next.
Yeah, what comes next is enriching himself through the military-industrial complex.
But the answer is not to turn inward, to retreat into competing factions.
Hey, Alan, I just told you, bro. I'm not just going to let him propagandize on my show, bro.
Or worship the way you do.
I'm not going to let him propagandize on my show.
Sources you do.
I'm going to fact check. This is called fact checking.
Civil war that pits red against blue. Rural versus urban. Or rural versus urban. Conservative versus liberal. We can do this if we open our souls instead of hardening our hearts. If we show a little tolerance and humility, and if we're willing to stand in the other person's shoes, as my mom would say,
this guy incarcerated half the African-American race, bro. He was paid by prisons, Wall Street, and the military-industrial complex. And here he's trying to stand in other people's shoes now. It's amazing. I'm so happy. Thank you for locking up my people.
When you need a hand. There are other days when we're called to lend a hand. That's how it has to be. This is what we do for one another. And if we are this way, our country will be stronger, more prosperous, more ready for the future. And we can still disagree. My fellow Americans, in the work ahead of us, we're going to need each other. We need all our strength to persevere through this dark winter. We're entering what may be the toughest and deadliest period of the virus. We must set aside politics and finally face this pandemic as one nation. One nation.
You stop talking and interrupting the guy that's lying to you. You guys are so funny. Swear to God.
But joy cometh in the morning. We will get through this together. Together. Look, folks, all my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here, we all understand the world is watching all of us today. So here's my message to those beyond our borders. America has been tested, and we've come out stronger for it. We will repair our alliances and engage with the world once again.
He's going to engage with Libya, Somalia, Kuwait, Yemen. He's going to overthrow those people. He's going to arm more rebels. He's going to do some more chemical weapon attacks. For you. For you.
We'll be a strong and trusted partner for peace, progress, and security. Look, you all know we've been through so much in this nation. And my first act as president, I'd like to ask you to join me in a moment of silent prayer. Remember all of those who we lost in this past year to the pandemic. Those 400,000 fellow Americans, moms, dads, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, friends.
You know what, Doina? You look like a sweet lady, but he's a liar. And if you believe him, you're kind of, I don't know. I can't assume things, but when you believe liars over and over again, what is that called? I don't know. I don't want to pass judgment. You seem like a nice lady, but thank you for, he did. He said it was a mistake. He's a liar, though.
Amen. Folks, this is a time of testing. We face an attack on our democracy and on truth, a raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism, a climate in crisis, America's role in the world. Any one of these would be enough to challenge us in profound ways. But the fact is, we face them all at once, presenting this nation with one of the gravest responsibilities we've had. Now we're going to be tested. Are we going to step up, all of us? It's time for boldness, for there's so much to do. And this is certain. I promise you, we will be judged, you and I, by how we resolve these cascading crises of our era. We will rise to the occasion is the question. Will we master this rare and difficult hour? Will we meet our obligations and pass along a new and better world to our children? I believe we must. I'm sure you do as well. I believe we will. And when we do, we'll write the next great chapter in the history of the United States of America, the American story. A story that might sound something like a song that means a lot to me. It's called American Anthem. And there's one verse that stands out, at least for me, and it goes like this. The work and prayers of century have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Let's us add our own work and prayers to the unfolding story of our great nation. If we do this, then when our days are through, our children and our children's children will say of us, they gave their best, they did their duty, they healed a broken land. My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency and dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world. That is what we owe our forebears, one another, and generation to follow. So, with purpose and resolve, we turn to those tasks of our time, sustained by faith, driven by conviction, and devoted to one another and the country we love with all our hearts. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, America.
So that was the next middle manager of the oligarchy right there.
Now 46th president.
The 46th president of the oligarchy. He's not going to give you health care. He's not going to give you a living wage. He's got a supermajority. He's not going to do anything with it. They were just yesterday floating tax cuts for the rich. Just yesterday, floating tax cuts for the rich. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and they're floating tax cuts for the rich. Just like, you know. So, you're a nice lady, hon. You think you believe in him. He's a liar. His party is a corporate party, and so are Republicans. And us as Americans, we need to wake up, guys. We the people need to wake up, because these guys are not going to take care of us. I just want to let y'all know.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. If I can ask you to sing this last verse with me, not just the people here, but the people at home, at work, as one, united. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Amen.
Now I applaud that. Good job, bro. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear.
To unite America.
'Twas grace my fears relieved. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first began.
We'll now hear a poem from Amanda Gordon.
Not quite social distance there for
My friends, thank you for watching Tommy Nation Politics. I'm sorry about my snide comments. As you can tell, I blocked a lot of the people that were saying this. First of all, this is my show. Second of all, I have freedom of speech. Third of all, I'm not going to let some guy propagandize on my show. I don't care how powerful he is. Every man is equal in this country. All men are created equal. And all men are created equal under the law. I don't care how many Hunter Biden laptops. I don't care how many censorships. I don't care how many times this guy has incarcerated my race and then apologized and said it was a mistake and everybody believes him. I don't care, guys. I'm still going to speak my truth. And this is Tommy Nation Politics. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. And I hope you subscribe. I hope you follow. Sometimes I'll agree with you. Sometimes I won't. I'm a free-thinking person, guys. But I'm not going to tolerate the Democrats or Republicans. Just put it that way. I'm not a partisan. I only believe in one thing, the truth. The truth is where Jesus built his church, because it was a rock foundation. The military-industrial complex, Raytheon, Boeing, that's a foundation of sand. That's a foundation of sand. Being a corporatist, globalist is a foundation of sand. And I say that to Trump as well. Trump didn't have a strategy. He didn't have a plan. He lost the presidency. Now we have this guy. Do I care? No. He's just the next middle manager of the oligarchy. This is a corporate oligarchy, guys. So what do I want? I want to legalize marijuana. I want health care. I want a Green New Deal. I want Medicare for all. Okay? This guy's not going to give it to me. He said he'd veto Medicare for all day one. So I'm sorry. He's just not, he doesn't align with my values. And if he starts to lie and starts to propagandize, I'm going to call him out. Okay? Thank you guys, 11 that stayed with me. Thanks, guys, for giving me the chance to just speak my truth. And I hope that we see more of each other, guys. And if you want to make chats and comments like Doina here, I will definitely listen to you guys. But I am not going to let politicians lie on my show. I will never do that. Sorry. Love you guys. And may God bless America.